Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this video, the full version is available on Patreon. I'll be uploading all my content there going forward.
Chapter 1. After his physical body died, GT Goku reversed yin and yang, exhausted his soul energy, gathered all the life force in the universe, and finally destroyed Super Saiyan 1 Omega Shenron. It began with the Dragon Balls, and it ended with the Dragon Balls. At the dragon's request, he followed the dragon and left this world. Exhausted, he lay down on the back of the dragon and fell into a deep sleep. When Sun Wukong opened his eyes again, he had already changed time and space. Above the clouds, the sky is clear, and along a winding, endless path. A young man named Sun Wukong, with a burly, iron-like body and a crab-like head, awoke from his slumber. "Didn't I fall asleep on the dragon's back?" Sun Wukong muttered to himself as he gazed at the empty sky. "This is the underworld." He scratched his head, stared at the halo above his head that symbolized death for a few seconds, and then it dawned on him. "How did I get back here?" Sun Wukong was puzzled. "Didn't I leave Earth with the dragon? How did I end up in the underworld? Dragon God, are you there?" Sun Wukong stood up, shouted loudly, and tried to communicate with the dragon. He tried more than 10 times in a row, but to no avail. He received no response from the dragon whatsoever. The wind howled, and the clouds churned. The room was completely square, with only Sun Wukong's clear voice echoing back and forth, its lingering sound lasting for a long time. Sun Wukong finally gave up. His handsome eyebrows furrowed slightly, a hint of worry rising in his heart. Having experienced numerous battles, the naive boy has grown into a martial arts master, accustomed to thinking about the causes and consequences beyond the battle itself. Thoughts raced through his mind. After a moment's contemplation, he wondered, has the dragon truly vanished? Did it send me to the underworld and then quietly disappear? However, he felt the possibility was extremely small and dismissed the guess. There was no need for the dragon to go to such lengths. Logically speaking, after defeating the Super One-Star Dragon, even if my soul didn't dissipate, it should have gone to the underworld to report to Yama, the king of hell. A possibility flashed through Sun Wukong's mind. Could it be that Super One-Star Dragon didn't die, and that he was behind it all? As he considered this possibility, his heart suddenly tightened, and a chill ran through him. Subconsciously open your mind and sense the life force of the underworld. A moment later, the result made him breathe a sigh of relief. The worst-case scenario did not occur. Sun Wukong did not sense the terrifying evil aura emanating from the evil dragon. He was overjoyed. It seemed that the cosmic energy bomb had indeed purified the source of evil, even purifying the evil soul into nothingness. You must know that the 7 evil dragons were born of desire, rampaging and causing ruins everywhere. Their evil aura permeated the human world, the underworld, and the realm of gods. All life on earth perished, and the evil permeated the sky and the earth. Every drop of water, every grain of sand, and even the air flying in the sky exuded a repulsive and malevolent aura. The evil energy was completely purified by the life force. Lacking its source of evil, the Super One-Star Dragon naturally vanished into nothingness. But what is his situation now? He arrived alone in the underworld, but the dragon was nowhere to be found. As he pondered this, he belatedly realized that his body was no longer that of a child, but rather that of an adult. Suddenly, a flood of memories from the past rushed through his mind, causing his soul to tremble and instantly bringing him to a realization. After an unknown amount of time, the lingering, excruciating pain in my head gradually subsided until it disappeared completely. The memories of the past are as clear as if they happened yesterday. A refreshing breeze gently caressed his cheeks, like melting snow in spring, softly lifting a few strands of hair, making them feel soft and pleasant. Even the feeling of soul separation caused by forcibly using the spirit bomb has completely disappeared. I traveled back in time. I reached the point where I defeated my brother Raditz and went to North Kyo's planet to train. After I died, I was reborn and went back to the past. So, the evil dragon hasn't been born yet, and I'll have to fight it again in the future. Overwhelmed with mixed feelings, Sun Wukong remained silent for a moment. What kind of mess is this? You can't just fleece one sheep. Looking back, the frequent and unrestrained misuse of the Dragon Balls led to an accumulation of negative energy, which directly gave birth to 7 evil dragons. It took a tremendous amount of effort and the combined power of the universe to completely destroy the Super One-Star Dragon and dispel the evil aura that permeated the universe. He had once heard a saying. For every gain, there is a loss. When you gaze into the abyss also gazes into you. Fortunately, after countless hardships, even if the fruit is bad, it is still within one's own capacity to bear. He sacrificed himself to completely end the existence of the evil dragon, saving the universe from destruction and restoring peace and order to the cosmos. It's not a loss. With this thought in mind, Sun Wukong was in a great mood. Such an exceptionally evil and powerful enemy is rare in the world, and even now, a surge of indomitable fighting spirit still rises within Sun Wukong's heart. The Saiyans, a warrior race, have blood surging and roaring within them, yearning to fight against unparalleled powerhouses. Within a controllable range, Sun Wukong thoroughly enjoys the thrill of battle. Previously, he transformed into Super Saiyan 4, his strength far surpassing his previous form. Even with his own fighting abilities, he was still no match for Super Saiyan 1 Omega Dragon in the end. His victory, achieved through the cosmic energy bomb, was both his good fortune and a blessing for all life in the universe. Such formidable enemies are few and far between in the billions of years of the universe. To encounter them, fight them, and defeat them, is that not a kind of honor? I wonder how Gohan, Chi-Chi, Goten, and Pan are doing. They must be quite happy. Even though I'm dead, the world is at peace again. Sun Wukong's eyes were gentle, longing for his family in another time and space. He stood there thinking about many things, his family, Vegeta, Bulma, King Kai, the 7 evil dragons, Supreme Kai, and so on. Thinking that he would never see them again, Sun Wukong was lost in thought, feeling empty inside. Now, I am far away from them, not separated by an instantaneous distance, but by an unreachable river of time and space. It's not like there's no way. Future Trunks can travel back in time, and I might be able to find my own timeline. A resolute look flashed across Sun Wukong's face. Cultivate yourself to transcend your past life and strive to reach the strongest. After a moment, Sun Wukong calmed his scattered thoughts and regained his spirits. Setting new goals makes one feel radiant and full of energy. Feeling down comes quickly and goes quickly. He looked up at the world he had been reborn into with a curious expression. A white serpentine path, thick white clouds beneath it, an endless runway. It was clearly the serpentine path leading to King Kai's north. A scene that seemed familiar. At this moment, the environment he was in was not unfamiliar, on the contrary, it was very familiar. It's not the Yama Palace where the dead line up, but rather a well-known landmark in the underworld. The passage to King Kai's planet. Chapter 2. Sun Wukong recalled his past apprenticeship, his emotions a mix of feelings, his eyes filled with nostalgia and hidden contemplation. Lord Kai, along with his companion and pet gorilla Beerus, and the swarming, locust-like Gregory, are old friends. After Cell Game's death, he trained with King Kai for 7 years, and he developed a deep affection for this place. He stomped on the stone beneath his feet with a nostalgic air, then clenched his fists and clashed them together. Several loud bangs. My strength is so weak right now. Sun Wukong sighed, then chuckled heartlessly. For so many years, I haven't felt so weak and helpless. I kind of miss my majestic physique when I transformed into Super 4. A thought flashed through his mind, and he clenched his fist again, letting out a sudden burst of energy. The energy arose from within, transforming into a white flame that coiled around the body and soared into the sky. The energy pool deep within the body is mobilized, arising at will, and spreading to every cell of the body. This power might be formidable to ordinary earthlings, allowing them to wield power and command the earth government of his youth, leaving ordinary earthlings helpless. Just like Piccolo Dama back then. Earth's military was helpless against him, allowing him to manipulate and control him as he pleased, like a thing that could be taken and given whatever he wanted. But this power, compared to the power he possessed in his previous life, was like the starry sky compared to dust, or the bright moon compared to fireflies incomparable. Sun Wukong was shocked and puzzled by his rebirth. Reincarnated with his memories and returning to the past is beyond his scientific understanding. If Bulma were here, she'd be so smart, she could definitely give me an explanation. Sun Wukong thought to himself, and the image of that fierce and intelligent woman who was assembling a time machine flashed through his mind. In fact, aside from his grandfather Son Gohan, Bulma was the first person he ever knew. He recalled his training on King Kai's planet and all the events that happened during that time. Raditz, the older brother, a name from long ago. The long-haired, cold figure posed an extremely serious threat to him and Piccolo back then, to the point that he had to sacrifice himself along with Raditz to eliminate this alien enemy. The past events flashed by like fleeting shadows. The power of time blurs memories and distorts thoughts. The name resurfaced in the corner of his memory, causing him to momentarily feel disoriented. After all, by the time he faced off against one star dragon, he had become a grandfather, nearly 50 years old. He did not regret dying alongside his brother, Raditz. Who told Raditz to want to destroy that beautiful planet? He will not allow such a thing to happen. No one will do. Back in the day, Raditz landed on Earth from deep space. He attempts to recruit his younger brother, Kakarot, who was banished to Earth to cause chaos in his childhood, so that they can embark on a space conquest war. Man proposes, God disposes. The Saiyan Goku, a low-ranking warrior, suffered a brain injury in a childhood fall. The world lost a short-tempered Saiyan warrior, Goku, and gained a peace-loving Earth Saiyan, Son Goku. Raditz lost his life as a result and is now undergoing rehabilitation in Hell. Later, the information about the Dragon Balls granting wishes was leaked, attracting ambitious individuals seeking power and immortality, such as Vegeta and Nappa. Later, Frieza invaded Namek, attempting to gain immortality through the Namekian Dragon Balls and maintain his dominion over the universe. The battle on Namek culminated in the first Super Saiyan transformation for Goku. Remembering that he was called a low-level warrior, Sun Wukong couldn't help but smile. This was an early source of anxiety for the Saiyan Prince Vegeta, causing him sleepless nights and constant dreams of killing him to restore the Saiyan Prince's pride. Ever since he was defeated by him on Earth, Vegeta's martial arts progress has been repeatedly left behind. Vegeta was always angry that he was weaker than a lower-class warrior. His self-esteem was shattered, so he trained desperately, neglecting to eat or sleep, just to prove that he was the real Saiyan genius. Sun Wukong steadied himself, his wandering thoughts returning to reality. A young body, frail strength, but brimming with limitless possibilities. Traveling through time and space. Sun Wukong's voice was distant and resonant. I inexplicably arrived in this world and merged into my past self. He expressed his confusion, but also his respect. Existence is its own justification. No matter how far-fetched something may seem on the surface, upon closer examination, there is a plausible logic behind it. Suddenly, I remembered Trunks from 20 years ago in the future. He once traveled from the future, traversing time and space, to return to his own time. However, Trunks traveled to the past in a time machine, while he himself traveled to the past using memories from the future. So, are the memories in our minds real? The thought surged into Sun Wukong's mind. The adventures, battles, unforgettable memories, and the people and things etched into my bones are so vivid in my mind, as if they were being replayed before my eyes, there is no mistake. Regardless of the circumstances, an evil dragon should never have been born in this lifetime. Sun Wukong thought to himself, after I'm resurrected, I need to advise Bulma to use the Dragon Balls to make fewer wishes in the future, lest an evil dragon reappear. However, upon further reflection, he realized that he had gained decades of extra cultivation time out of thin air. Sufficient time, the correct training method, and a clear progression and transformation. In the future, if the evil dragons manifest in an unstoppable manner, he is confident that he can break through Super Saiyan 4 at full power and reach a completely new realm before they appear. He longed for that kind of field. Without needing to rely on fusion techniques or the spirit bomb, he truly defeated Super One-Star Dragon using only his own power. Sun Wukong silently experienced the special state of being fused into the warrior Gogeta, filled with boundless pride, and couldn't wait to transform and fight a powerful enemy. However ambitious the goal may be, it must be based on solid foundations and strive upwards, just like rowing against the current. If you don't move forward, you will fall behind. At that moment, he was a lowly soldier with a combat strength of several hundred. A year later, Vegeta and Nappa launched a surprise invasion of Earth, and with their current fighting power, there was no possibility of resistance. The most urgent task is to train on King Kai's planet, where the tenfold gravity is extremely beneficial for cultivating Qi. Sun Wukong was not worried about this trouble. In the normal timeline, the Earth Warriors would achieve a Pyrrhic victory over Vegeta. But when he is reborn, everything will change. With his abilities, after a year of training, he could handle the Saiyan invasion with ease, without breaking a sweat. The tragic scene of several people dying in the previous life will never happen. With his past life's experience, he could easily break through the barriers of an ordinary Saiyan and transform into a Super Saiyan within a year. With a 50-fold increase in growth rate, I can't imagine how we could lose. He seemed to have already seen it, the shocked, angry, and incredulous look on the young Vegeta's face when he transformed into a Super Saiyan. It's funny to think about. In addition, you can take this opportunity to consult Lord Realm King about the issue of rebirth. Lord Kai has lived for tens of thousands of years, he is a living ancient relic, knowledgeable and experienced, and perhaps understands the situation he is in now. Even if King Kai doesn't know, once I have the strength, I can go to the Supreme Kai's world to rescue the old Supreme Kai and ask him how to find the path back to my own timeline. As for asking Shenlong, that's a last resort. He wouldn't do this unless he had no other choice. After all, the lesson of the evil dragon is still fresh in everyone's mind. Even though he was confident that he could eliminate the evil dragon on his own in this lifetime, he wanted to avoid having such a purely negative energy life form appear in the first place. Let's not cause trouble for the universe. Regarding the matter of rebirth, Sun Wukong pondered it deeply, setting aside his confusion. He decided to stop thinking about it if he couldn't figure it out, as improving his strength was the key to breaking the deadlock. That's just his personality, internal strife doesn't apply to him. The thought of seeing King Kai again filled Goku with joy. Having made his decision, Sun Wukong immediately leaped into the air, his white aura surging forth. Place your hands on your forehead, concentrate, and carefully sense the aura of King Kai. He was all too familiar with the life force on King Kai's planet. They found the location quickly. Call out. Sun Wukong suddenly appeared in the sky above King Kai's north planet. Nothing has changed. Sun Wukong smiled slightly. King Kai, Beerus, and Gregory's life force flowed continuously from the deep green planet, surging and pulsating through every cell and pore. In his previous life, he spent half a year navigating the snake path. Now it can teleport, arriving in the blink of an eye. King Kai came into view. His gaze pierced through the clouds and landed on the lush green grass. Every blade of grass and every tree there felt incredibly familiar to Sun Wukong. In his mind, King Kai is practically his second home. 3 or 4 houses stand alone on the planet. The winding global driveway features an old car parked on the track, with scattered trees and shrubs adding a touch of vitality. Sun Wukong flew and landed on King Kai's planet. Upon reaching the ground, slightly bend your knees to cushion the impact of gravity, then straighten your body to adapt to the pressure of 10 times the gravity here. Once he had settled in, he strode forward and walked to the gorilla Beerus' side. Beerus, long time no see. He smiled and casually waved. The jet-black gorilla, Beerus, widened its round eyes, stopped playing, and tilted its head to examine the creature that had suddenly appeared before it. His face was full of curiosity, and a hint of inquiry flashed in his eyes. A crab-headed man, a strange martial arts uniform with the character for turtle embroidered on the chest, a stranger's face, I don't recognize him. 9 times out of 10, they've come to learn martial arts from Lord King. Woo-woo. Beerus's intelligent eyes blinked, and his lips moved, uttering the language of an ape. Sun Wukong laughed heartily. He naturally understood what Beerus meant. Beerus asked him who he was and what he was doing on King Kai's planet. In the past, due to intense cultivation, his spirit, physique, and energy rose, and the three intertwined in a mysterious and profound way, giving him some strange superpowers, one of which was telepathy. In addition, there are other supernatural abilities such as memory exploration and dream communication. He squatted down next to Beerus, smiling, and said, "By the way, my name is Sun Wukong. You don't recognize me now, but I've known you for a long time." Chapter 3. A question mark flashed across Beerus's face. Haha. You wouldn't understand even if I told you. Sun Wukong laughed heartily, without offering any further explanation to Beerus. I've come to learn from Lord Kai. Sun Wukong continued. Wah! Beerus gave a perfunctory response. As he expected, this guy was indeed here to cultivate. Sun Wukong didn't take it to heart and continued his conversation with Beerus with great interest. It's not easy for you to come here to learn from me. You need to tell me a joke that I found funny. I won't teach someone who lacks a sense of humor how to cultivate themselves. As Sun Wukong was speaking and stretching his body, a steady voice rang out. Sun Wukong turned around and saw a person in a black Kaido robe, wearing distinctive sunglasses, with 2 black antenna-like appendages on his head, swaying from side to side as he walked over. Lord Kai. It's been a long time. Sun Wukong happily stepped forward and, as if they were old friends, approached King Kai and greeted him with a smile. King North Kai stammered. Who are you? Do I know you? But as the saying goes, one doesn't hit a smiling face, so King Kai didn't hold Sun Wukong's recklessness against him. King Ji stroked his beard, feigning profundity, and said, Many people want to learn martial arts from me, but getting me to teach isn't easy. You'll have to tell me a joke that makes me laugh. Ha ha ha, Lord Kai is still the same. Sun Wukong experienced a long-lost joy. King Kai was approachable and, although he seemed difficult, he actually had a very low threshold for laughter. A simple corny joke could make him burst into laughter. What's so difficult about that? Then, Sun Wukong copied the joke and made up a simple lame joke. As expected, King Kai, for some unknown reason, was struck by a joke. His lips curled into a smile, and he suddenly bent over, laughing so hard he could barely breathe. They repeatedly praised Sun Wukong for his great sense of humor. Very good, your joke is very funny. By the way, what's your name? I've decided, I'll teach you cultivation and impart a few martial arts moves to you. After a while, King Kai, having regained his composure, looked at Goku with gentle eyes and began to inquire about Goku's specific situation. My name is Son Goku. Lord Kai, the Saiyans are going to invade Earth in a year, so I plan to train on King Kai's planet for half a year. Sun Wukong scratched his head, his mind racing through his memories, and then briefly recounted the history between the Saiyans and Earth, as well as the impending invasion. Actually, what King Kai can teach, Goku already learned back then, so there's no need to learn it again. The main reason for returning to King Kai's planet, besides the fact that the gravity there is suitable for scions to train, was to see the King Kai I remembered. Lord Kai is no different from what I remember, Sun Wukong thought to himself. I see. The gods of Earth sent you to the underworld to learn martial arts from me, so you can return to Earth and defeat the scions. King Kai nodded knowingly, he knew about scions. The top mercenary of Frisia, the Emperor of the Universe. Once Frisia's army intends to conquer and sell planets. Those scions were always the first to appear and volunteered to be on the front lines. Wherever they went, they slaughtered mountains of corpses and seas of blood, committing numerous sins. After death, they are basically to undergo reformation in hell, atone for their sins, have their memories erased, enter the cycle of reincarnation, and be reborn as new lives. More than 20 years ago, Frisia was wary of the legend of the Super Saiyan. While the scions were gathering on planet Vegeta, he ruthlessly annihilated entire clans and destroyed stars with a flick of his finger. The once prosperous scion race vanished. Only a few scions remained who were fighting abroad and didn't have time to return. Unexpected. The scion descendants learned of the miraculous ability to summon Shenron and grant wishes by gathering the 7 Dragon Balls. Earth has thus incurred a great enemy. A child carrying gold through the market attracted the attention of jackals, wolves, tigers, and leopards. But weakness is not a reason for them to bully others at will. Wukong, one of the key principles of cultivation is ultimate speed. The tentacles on King Kai's head twitched, as if trying to gauge the energy of the person before him. He pointed to his pet Beerus and said, Goku, scions are born living under 10 times the gravity of Earth, so they are naturally stronger than you. If you want to defeat them and save the Earth, you must first overcome the gravity of King Kai's planet. Only then will you have the power to fight them. Go, catch Beerus. Good. Sun Wukong nodded, his request being similar to what he had made years ago. Times have changed. Even if his combat strength is the same, his luck and ability to seize opportunities are far superior to what he had in his younger days. Containing the same energy, he can increase the power output from 1 to 10. Sun Wukong believed he could easily defeat his past self with a single finger. With the king of the realm having given his orders, his pet Beerus naturally dared not slack off. He immediately took off running at full speed, leaving Sun Wukong behind, transforming into afterimages with astonishing speed. Sun Wukong flashed past, following closely behind. His speed was like lightning, leaping and bounding so fast that it was impossible to keep up. Eek! King Kai, standing to the side, couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. On that remote and desolate planet Earth, how could such warriors be born from the weak and frail human race? Small mountains have no animals, shallow waters have no fish. Normally, you can't raise big fish in a small pond. Without a suitable environment, powerful life forms cannot emerge. But then I thought, Sun Wukong is not a pure native of Earth, but an exiled scion. This kind of performance is not surprising. Ha! Sun Wukong, who was chasing Beerus, seized the opportunity and stretched out his arms swiftly like dragons emerging from the sea. So fast that even Beerus did not notice Sun Wukong's movement. In the blink of an eye, Beerus had been grabbed by the waist by Sun Wukong, who strangled it so tightly that it could not move, using great force to restrict its movements. Then, as if picking up a little cub, he lifted Beerus up and dragged him to King Kai. "You're very fast," King Kai commented, secretly astonished by Sun Wukong's ability to control his ki. He naturally knew Sun Wukong's fighting power. Logically speaking, it would be impossible for him to capture Beerus in less than a month or two. However, Sun Wukong's masterful manipulation of his chi allowed him to move at speeds far exceeding normal combat abilities. What a human genius! King Kai was astonished. Chapter 4. King Kai circled The, honest and simple, faced Sun Wukong 3 times, marveling at his appearance. Sun Wukong's face was full of humility, and his smile was clear. With over 20 years of cultivation knowledge, he defeated numerous powerful enemies. If he didn't have some practical skills, then his previous life would have been wasted. King Kai muttered a few words, waved his hand towards the sky, and a white sphere descended from the sky, transforming into a streak of light, like a comet striking the moon, rushing towards Sun Wukong's location. Sun Wukong remained calm and collected, having anticipated this attack. He naturally sidestepped and dodged the sudden assault. He looked at the white sphere with amusement. It was shrouded in white gas, and the locust-like creatures inside were not visible unless you looked closely. This is an old friend. Gurgle. A creature that takes care of King Kai's daily needs year-round, renowned for its speed. Witnessing this scene, King Kai's two antennae swayed, unleashing a wondrous divine power. After a flash of light, a pale blue hammer appeared in his hand. Wukong, catch this! The hammer was thrown at Sun Wukong, forming an arc in the air before landing perfectly in his hands. His arm felt a slight heaviness. He weighed it in his hand and realized the hammer was quite heavy. With his current strength, he is more than capable of fighting. This time your opponent is Gurguri, so take the hammer and hit him. King Kai instructed. As expected, Sun Wukong used his skills from his previous life to easily make slight contact between the hammer and Gurgle's head. Upon seeing this, King Kai's joy was palpable. This scion from Earth certainly has plenty of speed, but I wonder about his strength. With this thought in mind, the Realm King casually flicked his wrist, and a huge, square rock floated into the air and was thrown into the sky. King Kai roared, "Goku, attack it with all your might!" Sun Wukong's aura surged, billowing and spreading hundreds of meters into the sky. It was like a ferocious humanoid beast descending upon the world, intimidating all directions. Dragon Fist, unleash! He let out a long roar, soaring into the sky, and gathered a dragon-shaped energy wave in his right hand. A massive energy surge shook the surrounding area, swirling up clouds of green grass and grey stones. 100-meter-long dragon roared to the sky, its momentum unstoppable, like white lightning, spanning heaven and earth, judging all. Boom! A straight, dragon-shaped beam of light pierced the sky, accompanied by a thunderous roar, and the giant rock turned into scorching dust that blanketed the earth. King Kai beamed with joy and laughed heartily. Your Dragon Fist Burst technique, a fusion of spirit, chi, and physique, has such astonishing destructive power. King Kai's gaze was fervent, as if he were witnessing the rise of a powerful being from the universe. He had actually encountered a man of exceptional talent and exceptional skill, a gifted martial artist among humans. He was certain that Sun Wukong's future would be extraordinary. With such outstanding physique and spirit, I am confident that my Kaioken style will flourish on the battlefields of space. Wukong, I have a divine skill, would you like to learn it? King Kai's expression was kind. He smiled and began to tempt her, this was his trump card. Lord Kai, what is that? It's called the Kaioken, a divine technique that enhances combat abilities. I spent tens of thousands of years perfecting it and creating it. If it weren't for our destined connection, I would never have taught it to you. When King Kai talked about his signature move, he couldn't help but feel proud. Over the tens of thousands of years since he succeeded King Kai, he has observed the martial arts of various races, absorbed the strengths of many, and refined them to perfection, ultimately creating the Kaioken, a martial art that guides potential. As long as your body can handle it, 100-fold increase in combat power is not a problem. As he spoke, he stole glances at Sun Wukong, hoping to catch a glimpse of his shocked expression. However, King Kai's ulterior motives were destined to be disappointed. King of the Realms, I know how to do this. Sun Wukong's smile was equally genuine. What? You can do that? King Kai's smile froze, his eyes narrowed, and he suspected that Goku had lost his mind. A hint of worry appeared in his eyes as he said, this move is my unique skill, I've never taught it to anyone else. Haha, Lord Kai, watch closely. Sun Wukong smiled confidently. He had already mastered the Kaioken technique, reaching the maximum level of proficiency. He clenched his fists, his back slightly arched, his muscles bulging, like a coiled dragon, his internal energy surging and surging wildly, mobilizing his energy pool and circulating the King of the Realm's fist technique. Yay! Boom! Beyond the white flames, red flames surged, and Sun Wukong stood tall and straight, his eyes blazing, his aura instantly doubling. Kaioken X2. With his physique, he can only go up to twice the speed at most. Any more, and the body might not be able to handle it, unable to withstand the burst of potential and thus collapse. Kaioken is a martial arts technique that briefly draws out latent power. King Kai's eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. He hadn't expected Goku to actually know how to do it, and he almost instinctively pulled out the whiskers he was stroking. How is this possible? The King of Kais was stunned and speechless. He asked himself honestly, recalling his experiences over tens of thousands of years, and he was certain that he had never passed on or taught this special skill to Sun Wukong. Beerus, standing to the side, wagged its tail, its eyes wide and dazed, its head spinning but unable to make sense of anything. How could this human, who is training on King Kai's planet for the first time, know King Kai's unique techniques? Gurgul was also greatly puzzled. His intriguing gaze swept over King Kai and Son Goku multiple times. King Kai suddenly felt he had lost face. What? I know it all? You know it all. You went through all that trouble to cross the snake path, only to find a quiet place to cultivate yourself? If Sun Wukong could hear King Kai's thoughts, he would immediately give him a thumbs up, praising King Kai for his keen insight and true understanding of his inner thoughts. With a thought, King Kai realized he had another trump card, a special skill to subdue evil. He didn't believe that Sun Wukong could even do that. Actually, I have another move, called the Spirit Bomb. Chapter 5. Do you want to study? The Realm King gave a light snort and spoke. The waves of the river surge forward, one after another, until the old waves perish on the beach. King Kai would never admit that he was that former wave. Is that so? I can do that too. Sun Wukong seemed not to see King Kai's face, which was as black as coal. He raised his hands high above his head, his expression calm, his mind as still as water, communicating with heaven and earth through his breath. The life force of plants, animals, and planets from all directions converged continuously, instantly forming a ball of energy the size of a football. The King of the Realms remained silent, utterly speechless. After a long while, the defeated King Kai vigorously rubbed his stiff cheeks, trying to restore them to their normal suppleness. I can't help but sigh that I'm getting old, I'm one of those older generation. You already know my two most secret skills, so I have nothing more to teach you. King Kai was feeling down. But I'm more curious about where you learned the Kaioken and the Spirit Bomb from. Haha, Lord Kai, actually you taught me all of this. Sun Wukong smiled. Did I teach you? King Kai looked unconvinced, as if to say, don't try to fool an old man like that. Sun Wukong didn't keep them in suspense. He pulled King Kai aside and quietly told him how he learned his skills in his previous life. The Saiyans are attacking Frieza, the arrogant and powerful emperor of the universe. Technology creates artificial beings. Majin Buu, a magical creation. Baby, the alien avenger. An evil dragon born of desire and greed. The process was full of twists and turns, but Sun Wukong recounted it in great detail without holding back. He specifically mentioned the dangers posed by the evil dragon. Strive for truthfulness and reliability. Even though Sun Wukong spoke casually, King Kai still realized the deep-seated worries in Sun Wukong's heart. This shows how much Sun Wukong feared this evil dragon, his formidable enemy. In the final battle, using the spirit bomb taught to me by King Kai, and with his help, I gathered the life force of the universe and successfully defeated Super One-Star Dragon, who had merged with the power of the other 6 evil dragons. This exhausted all my power at the time. Hearing that Sun Wukong persevered and ultimately could only turn the tide and defeat the evil enemy with the spirit bomb he created, King Kai's eyes lit up, and he felt relieved. When I wake up again, I'll return to the present. Sun Wukong remained calm, his eyes filled with curiosity, as he looked at King Kai, who was listening attentively, his brow furrowing and his expression shifting between frown and smile. King Kai, he asked, do you know what's going on with me? Have I traveled through decades of time and returned to the present? Is rebirth possible? King Kai lowered his head in deep thought, unsure of what to do. Suddenly, he vaguely remembered that there seemed to be some regulations regarding time and space in the ordinances of the clergy. Seeing that Sun Wukong was quietly waiting for his answer, King Kai could only say, soul travel through time and space is theoretically possible. But I don't know the specifics, I need to check the detailed information. I see. Sun Wukong said regretfully. He suddenly returned to this era, and even with a broad mind, he felt uneasy, with too many questions to ask and too many answers to seek from others. At this point, King Kai completely believed everything Sun Wukong had said. It's not just Sun Wukong who possesses his unique martial arts skills. Sun Wukong also revealed some private stories that only he knew. For some reason, he couldn't muster a single doubt when faced with Sun Wukong's sincere gaze. There's always an inexplicable sense of trust that fills me. Wukong, don't worry. Rebirth might be a good thing. Seeing Sun Wukong's apparent worry, King Kai comforted him, by anticipating the enemy's appearance and taking precautions, you'll definitely handle things better in the future. Especially the cosmic level crisis you mentioned, the 7 evil dragons. King Kai has lived for hundreds of thousands of years and never imagined that in just a few decades, so many evil enemies would appear in the galaxy, as if the villains had planned to appear in droves. I didn't know what to say for a moment. The universe is full of disasters. King Kai sighed. The evil dragon is born from insatiable greed, without timely purification, it becomes negative energy. Speaking of evil dragons, King Kai seemed to be infected by Goku's spirit, saying, they are synonymous with evil and should not exist in this time and space. That's true. Sun Wukong agreed, after I'm resurrected, I'll have to persuade Bulma and the others not to use the Dragon Balls unless absolutely necessary. The Black Star Dragon Balls created by Kami should also be disposed of, keeping them will only cause trouble. King Kai nodded. Preventing problems before they arise and nipping them in the bud is the right thing to do. He thought for a moment, then looked kindly at his disciple and suggested, Wukong, don't worry about the truth behind your time travel. Above the King of Kais are the Supreme Kais, they are the pinnacle of divine authority, and nothing escapes their scrutiny. Once you've achieved a certain level of mastery in your cultivation, you can certainly ask the Supreme Kai. As the most powerful gods in the universe, their understanding of space-time far surpasses that of ordinary deities. Perhaps you can find the answers you need there. Sun Wukong had this intention, but since he couldn't get an answer from King Kai, seeking help from old Kai was one of his options. Chapter 6. Time flies like an arrow, the days and months pass swiftly. The practice on King Kai's planet is relaxed yet passionate and energetic. Sun Wukong moves into King Kai's planet. During the day, they focus on building physical strength and willpower. At night, they engage in spiritual practice through meditation. Cultivate your chi, nourish your spirit, and refine your body. A way to tap into the combat potential buried deep within the body. Sun Wukong progressed step by step, methodically advancing towards the highest level of martial arts. He set himself a small goal for his year-long training on King Kai's planet. That is to transform into a Super Saiyan. In his view, only by transforming into a Super Saiyan could he have a certain degree of self-defense capability. The tenfold gravity of King Kai's planet was indeed very beneficial to his training. It was visible to the naked eye that the energy his body could hold was increasing step by step, seemingly without end. Sun Wukong used the gravity of King Kai's planet and heavy objects to train his physique. In the first month, his combat strength reached 10,000. In the second month, the combat strength reached 180,000. In the third month, the combat power reached 1 million. 3 months later, Sun Wukong discovered that his cultivation efficiency was gradually declining. He sat cross-legged on the roof, his tortoise-patterned robe gleaming in the sunlight. Close your eyes and meditate, clearing your mind of all distractions, and review your progress in practice as usual. A moment later, he opened his eyes. Combat power of 1.3 million. Sun Wukong muttered to himself. This is the result of his 5 months of spiritual practice. The first 3 months were swift and rapid, like a thunderclap. The last 2 months were slow and sluggish. Based on my past life's cultivation experience, pushing my immature body to 1 million combat power in the first 3 months was already the limit of my past life's cultivation insights. As far as he knew, his initial potential was not high. When it was born, its combat power rating was only 2, which was even worse than a weakling. Back then, his father Bardock had a fighting power of over 10,000, making him an elite saiyan warrior. His youngest son's fighting power of 2 greatly disappointed him and made him feel ashamed. As was customary for the saiyans, they planned to send him, whose fighting strength was low, to Earth, where the fighting strength was even lower, to carry out an invasion and extermination war. In anticipation of a bountiful harvest in the future. His father, Bardock, foresaw that Frieza might attack the Saiyans at any moment, so he proposed launching a spaceship and exiling Frieza to a remote, barbaric planet to cultivate the land. It saved his life. His initial combat strength was 2, which shows how low his physical potential was. Sun Wukong's ability to climb one cultivation peak after another is inseparable from his innate talent for cultivation. He always finds a suitable solution when faced with problems in martial arts. Over the past few days, he had tried to transform into a Super Saiyan, but he always felt like something was missing, though he couldn't quite put his finger on it. Perhaps my fighting power isn't enough to sustain the energy required to transform into a Super Saiyan. Sun Wukong thought to himself. 1.3 million combat power. In the known universe, it's neither too many nor too few. In Sun Wukong's old memories, he was considered a powerful figure in the universe. As long as he didn't offend a few powerful figures like the Frieza family, he could have roamed the universe freely. It should be noted that Frieza's army ruled the universe for decades, with countless generals under its command. They conquered the universe, traded planets, and were invincible, staining the 4 galaxies with blood and fire. Even the Galactic Patrol, with its divine backing, is wary of Frieza's army and doesn't want a direct confrontation or a potential cosmic war. Frieza searched the universe for geniuses and prodigies from all races and with mutated bloodlines, eventually forming the Jinyu Force. However, even the strongest member of the Force, Jinyu, only had a mere 120,000 combat power. Sun Wukong's current fighting power is 1.3 million. But Sun Wukong was not satisfied with this, his targets were precisely those exceptions. Therefore, he did not relax his practice because of this, on the contrary, he became even more determined in his resolve. He harbored a sense of urgency deep within him from beginning to end. The shadow of the evil dragon deep in his memory followed him like a persistent plague, making him feel sharp and pushing him to keep cultivating. He wants to become stronger, stronger than Super One-Star Dragon. The future enemy is too powerful. Frieza in the universe may seem powerful, but in reality, he is nothing more than an insignificant speck of dust under the grand curtain of glory. Leaving aside enemies like the evil dragon who can destroy the universe, even Cell, Bu, and androids 17 and 18 are far stronger than him. The universe is vast. You never know when or where a magical or technological creation might appear, threatening Earth or the universe. He kept telling himself that he had to keep climbing to the peak of martial arts, crossing seemingly insurmountable training mountains, and reaching unprecedented strength so that he could resist unknown and mysterious dangers. After his rebirth, Sun Wukong constantly yearns for the power to overturn everything. He never wanted to experience the despair he felt when facing a super one-star dragon again. The normal training methods on King Kai's planet are no longer very effective for my training. If I want to make further progress, I need unconventional training methods. A thought flashed through Sun Wukong's mind. Back then, on my spaceship to Namek, I used the saiyan near-death resurrection technique to trigger and activate their potential, thus enhancing their combat power. In just 6 days, with 4 senzu beans and 4 near-death experiences, his base combat power soared from several thousand to 90,000. A difference of nearly tenfold. This figure is nothing short of terrifying. How could I forget that? Now, I can do it too. In his previous life, it was through training on a spaceship that he gained the ability to fight Frieza and transform into a Super Saiyan. Aside from anger, basic combat strength is also indispensable. During the battle on Namek, Frieza's killing of Krillin triggered his extreme rage, causing him to transform into a Super Saiyan. At that time, my combat power was around 3 million. Sun Wukong recalled that thrilling battle from years ago, and the despair and grief of watching Krillin die before his eyes. Even now, recalling Frieza's cold expression when he killed Krillin, he still feels a surge of anger and a desire to beat up Frieza, that wicked cosmic emperor. Before Vegeta arrives, your power level must reach 3 million, and you must transform into a Super Saiyan. Sun Wukong's gaze was resolute. To better activate the Saiyan's passive ability to revive from near-death, and also to accelerate our training progress, we need to seek King Kai's help. Near-death experiences can be revived, and potential can be unleashed. The Senzu Bean, a divine object capable of revival, is indispensable. Then he went to King Kai, found him lying in a rocking chair enjoying his midday relaxation, and presented his idea to him. Your idea is feasible. King Kai looked at Sun Wukong, stroking a white beard. As far as I can remember, Saiyans do indeed possess this special ability. This is also one of their trump cards for dominating the universe. For over 100 days, he had been stunned and numbed by the miracles created by the pure smiling young man before him. He had lived for tens of thousands of years and had never seen a human whose combat power had increased so rapidly in such a short period of time. He had never seen a human with such talent as Sun Wukong before. Come on, put your hands behind my back. King Kai gestured to Goku with his eyes, and the 2 antennae on his head swung up and down, searching for the location of the Earth's gods. Sun Wukong understood, he had done it countless times in his previous lives. As expected, Goku contacted the Earth gods through King Kai, asking them to go to Korin Tower, the sacred land, to find Master Korin and get a bag of senzu beans from him. Senzu beans are amazing. As long as it's not a natural death, even if someone is severely injured and has only 1 drop of blood left, eating a senzu bean can fully revive them. Physical strength and energy levels have recovered to their peak condition. That's just how amazing it is. With the help of the senzu beans, Sun Wukong's training in the second half of the year became even more arduous and brutal. His martial arts progressed smoothly, and he repeatedly broke through barriers. He also encountered bottlenecks in his cultivation, but after careful thought, he was able to quickly unravel the inner mysteries. The hellish training, which involved bleeding and sweating, elevated his physique, spirit, and life force to a completely new level. With unimaginable effort comes joyful reward. Normal combat capability. 3 million. Chapter 7. Above King Kai. Sun Wukong's muscles bulged, as if they were cast from refined steel. His eyes were sharp and cold, and a fighting spirit that seemed ready to conquer heaven and earth was rapidly taking shape. Bang! His aura surged and erupted upwards. I can try transforming into a Super Saiyan now. Having learned the transformation technique from his previous life, Sun Wukong was quite adept at it. He mobilized the body's energy source according to the methods of his previous life. He skillfully cleansed the saiyan cells on his spine, communicating with the saiyan power dormant within his body. Buzz. His consciousness went blank for a moment. Enter a trial illusion. That was the final battle against the Super One-Star Dragon. Super One-Star Dragon reappeared before him. With a disdainful expression and a slight sneer, she ignored his resistance. He gathered a massive source of dark energy with his fingers and hurled it towards Earth. Sun Wukong, today Earth begins to turn into cosmic dust. Everything you cherish will vanish into thin air, and you will have nothing. Super One-Star Dragon made a move without hesitation. The child Sun Wukong looked furious. Time passed in the illusion. Sun Wukong's veins bulged, and the energy within his body surged uncontrollably towards his spine, sending a tingling, numb sensation through him, as if something was about to be activated and unleash its power. Boom! The winds rise and the clouds surge, the world changes color. A burst of lightning flashed around Sun Wukong. Golden flames erupted around him, and his jet-black hair, except for his bangs, stood up and turned golden. His physique erupted with unparalleled, terrifying energy. Golden light shone in all directions, illuminating King Kai's planet like a great sun looking down upon the world. The energy surged, the air currents churned, and even the smallest bursts of energy from King Kai's planet rumbled as they impacted the planet. Golden hair, golden eyebrows, light green eyes, a cold and ruthless expression, regarding everything as dust. Sun Wukong's mind was filled with the urge to kill. Fortunately, he had experience with transformation in his previous life, and his training on King Kai's planet was remarkably successful. With a thought, he could calm his mind like still water, unmoved by anything, and quell his chaotic emotions. The violent look in his eyes returned to normal. A 50-fold increase, 150 million combat power. Sun Wukong clenched his fists, clashed them together, and energy surged forth. Feeling a continuous flow of power coursing through his body, he couldn't hide his joy. The long-lost power. This fighting power is almost the same as when he fought Frieza back then. Lord Kai, something terrible has happened. There's been an earthquake on King Kai's planet. A panicked voice rang out, and Gurgul, startled, transformed into a streak of light and flew from afar. Gregory, what's the panic? This is King Kai's planet, there's no earthquake here. The Realm King reprimanded him. Is the food ready? Sun Wukong's gluttonous training will have to take a break for now. When King Kai talked about Goku's saiyan appetite, he looked pained. His ingredients are not cheap, many are rare and expensive species. Even he has to go and beg from other kings of the realms from time to time. Gurgul looked embarrassed. He was cooking when he suddenly felt an earthquake shaking violently. Startled, he immediately went to report to King Kai, only then realizing the unusual atmosphere. Look there! King Kai pointed his right hand at the figure in the sky, a glint of light flashing in his eyes, and said, the Super Saiyan from Saiyan legend. Seeing the golden-haired Son Goku soaring through the air, Gregory gaped, his expression blank, momentarily stunned, speechless with astonishment. Is this kind of energy, this kind of power, truly something that humans in the mortal realm can possess? The energy released by Sun Wukong formed an energy storm that swept across King Kai's planet. At that moment, Gurguri felt a sharp, tingling sensation on his skin, though it was merely a gentle, insignificant breath washing over him. He had lived for thousands of years and this was the first time he had ever seen such a powerful human being. This is a Super Saiyan. He murmured to himself, deeply moved, overjoyed for his good friend Sun Wukong. Bump! Bang! Transformed into a Super Saiyan, Goku unleashed a barrage of punches and kicks, creating a series of loud bangs in the air. After a series of punches and kicks, Sun Wukong had largely adapted to his transformed state. 30 minutes later. A lot of gas has leaked. Sun Wukong raised an eyebrow slightly, his stamina waning and energy leaking out. He didn't take it to heart. It was his first time transforming, and his body wasn't used to it yet. He figured he'd get used to it after a while. Once he reaches the full power of a Super Saiyan, his body will naturally be able to maintain peak performance without wasting a single bit of energy. The future is promising. Sun Wukong took a deep breath, then deactivated his Super Saiyan transformation and returned to his normal state. Lord Kaiju, the divine illusion you just created was so realistic, I almost thought Super One-Star Dragon had been resurrected. Landing beside King Kai, Goku stroked his crab head and said with a chuckle. His every word and action was nothing like that of a Super Saiyan who could transform. King Kai secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Despite his seemingly nonchalant demeanor, Sun Wukong's transformation was actually a sign of his fear that he might accidentally shatter his little home into dust, becoming a wandering king of the realms. That would be incredibly embarrassing. It would definitely become a laughing stock in the divine realm. Of course. Just look who created this divine art. King Kai stood with his hands behind his back, his face calm, as if this were a trivial matter. But Goku understood King Kai's thoughts from the slight curve of his lips. Lord Kai is amazing. Sun Wukong boasted, racking his brains and using every word he could think of. King Kai, with his exceptional sense of humor, couldn't hold back any longer and burst into laughter. Time flies. Sun Wukong found the illusion magic very useful, so he started learning it from King Kai. King Kai teaches his disciples without reservation, imparting all his knowledge to them to the best of his ability. After that, Sun Wukong learned illusion magic while also practicing martial arts. He mastered the illusionary magic after much effort, understanding its essence. The basic combat strength was like accumulated lake water being released, and the dormant potential burst forth, increasing from 3 million to 10 million, an increase of 7 million. During this period, he also completed his full power training and was just one step away from Super Saiyan 2. One day, King Kai found Sun Wukong meditating and cultivating. Goku, the Saiyans are arriving on Earth tomorrow. King Kai got straight to the point, conveying this message directly. Sun Wukong was stunned. It turned out that a year had already passed during his training on King Kai's planet. Vegeta, is tomorrow almost here? When Goku thought of Vegeta and Nappa, he realized that when they first arrived on Earth, they had destroyed a large city, causing the deaths of millions of people. Afterwards, the dead and the destroyed city were revived and repaired through wishes made with the Dragon Balls. Thinking of this, Goku's face darkened, and he felt it necessary to stop Vegeta and Vegeta from causing trouble. The Dragon Ball wish-making ritual should be avoided if possible. Now, you must inform your friends on Earth to resurrect you. King Kai then spoke. Sun Wukong nodded, then placed his hand on King Kai's back, communicating with Master Roshi through telepathy. Chapter 8. Grandpa, it's me, Wukong. Can you hear my voice? The Turtle Hermit's hut on a seaside island. While browsing through some unknown book, Master Roshi, with his lewd smile, paused, his gaze involuntarily shifting away from the captivating text. He suspected he was hallucinating from excessive longing. How could Wukong's voice be ringing in his ears? That's so unsportsmanlike. However, compared to the life and death of his prized disciple, Master Roshi felt that his beloved disciple was more important than his hobby of reading. Wukong, Wukong, where are you? The bald Master Roshi looked around and shouted back, awaiting Goku's reply. For a fleeting moment, he thought Wukong was speaking right next to his ear. Grandpa, I'm still in the underworld. I'm communicating with you now through the abilities of King Kai. In response to this question, Goku then asked, have you collected the Dragon Balls yet? Master Roshi immediately replied, we've worked very hard this year and have already collected all 7 Dragon Balls ahead of schedule. Sun Wukong explained the purpose of the call, it's to summon Shenron to revive me. The scions from beyond the universe are arriving on Earth tomorrow. Ah! Master Roshi's hair stood on end, and a bead of cold sweat appeared on his forehead. The scions had arrived ahead of schedule. A year ago, Raditz posed a serious threat to Earth. The scions arriving tomorrow will be stronger and more threatening than Raditz. Okay. I'll inform Bulma immediately. Master Roshi didn't hesitate and immediately instructed Bulma to bring out the Dragon Balls, preparing to wish for the revival of Goku, Earth's strongest fighter. Dark clouds gathered, and lightning flashed and thunder roared. The 7 Dragon Balls crackled with electricity, and a blue dragon appeared, its expression majestic, looking down at the humans below. Tell me your wishes, and I can grant any one of them. A vast and solemn divine sound emanated. Dragon God, please revive Sun Wukong. Upon hearing the wish, the dragon's red eyes flashed with a crimson light, and a strange wave surged through the underworld. Your wish has been granted. The underworld. Shortly after receiving Master Roshi's response, the halo above Goku's head, which symbolized death, suddenly disappeared. Sun Wukong has been resurrected. Haha! I'm back to life. Sun Wukong jumped up happily. Lord Kai, I can go back to Earth now. Goku, calm down. With your fighting power, you're more than capable of dealing with those 2 scions who are about to attack Earth. King Kai's smiling way. I'll inform the Earth deity later and have him go to the Yama's palace to bring you back to Earth. I've calculated the distance and time. At your speed, you'll arrive at the Yama's palace in no time. Wukong, after you return, I will have to wait until you die before we can meet again. Gurguri looked sad. It is almost impossible for mortals to travel to the underworld. A separation that may last for decades before they meet again. A year of spending time together forged a deep friendship between the two. Sun Wukong didn't seem to care. Actually, it doesn't need to be that complicated. I've learned a skill called instant teleportation, which allows me to travel between the underworld and the human world. King Kai was stunned upon hearing this, then nodded knowingly. Have you been to Ydrit? The universe is full of extraordinary people and events, and naturally occurring magical techniques abound. Instant teleportation is a spatial teleportation method pioneered by the Ydrasians, capable of allowing the living to traverse between the human and underworld realms without being stopped by the barrier between them. In the vast universe, the Ydrasians are renowned for their miraculous use of Qi. Adapt to Qi, utilize Qi, control Qi, and create all sorts of techniques using Qi. From King Kai's perspective, the abilities of the Ydrasians are extraordinary even in the vast universe. This deserves the attention of the divine realm. Sun Wukong briefly recounted his arrival at planet Yardrat. The spaceship I was on once autopilot to the planet Adelaide. Although the Adelaide people are few in number, they are warm and hospitable and possess many unique skills. Elder P. Bala, seeing my interest in teleportation, taught me this skill. Haha, it's quite difficult to learn, it took me almost a year to master it. Sun Wukong smiled sheepishly. That's fine then. I won't need to notify the gods of Earth to come to the underworld to fetch you. King Kai nodded, surprised by Sun Wukong's extraordinary adventure. He suddenly remembered Sun Wukong's reborn identity and regretted that he had almost forgotten this important matter. King Kai gestured for him to follow him to the side. Wukong, regarding your rebirth, I specifically checked the records of the divine realm. King Kai paused slightly before casting a divine spell to isolate information transmission. He recalled the temporal and spatial provisions in the clerical ordinances. And when he questioned the Great Kai warned him with an unhappy expression. He should stay out of research on time travel, or he'll cause a catastrophe, and even the Great King of the Realms won't be able to protect him as the King of the North. The Divine Realm's records of time and space are only fragmentary and vague. King Kai's eyes flashed with regret. He searched through the entire library of the gods but could not find a single example similar to Sun Wukong. However, the ordained law explicitly states that research into time travel in the human realm is a grave cosmic sin. He emphasized the major sins 3 times. You must keep your rebirth a secret from now on. Aside from trusted individuals, do not divulge it to anyone, lest you commit a grave sin against the universe and incur the wrath of a great enemy. The king of the realm gave solemn instructions. He highly valued Sun Wukong, believing he would definitely become a universe-level powerhouse in the future, and did not want him to perish halfway through his journey. Ah! Sun Wukong scratched his head in distress, still trying to figure out the mystery of his rebirth. He asked cautiously, even the old Kaishan can't tell. In his mind, the old Supreme Kai had lived for countless years, possessed vast knowledge, and could effortlessly wield magic and divine arts, keeping the new generation Supreme Kai, Shinda, in check. Such a master, possessing unfathomable wisdom, must surely know some clues. Supreme Kai, a legendary god. For tens of thousands of years, King Kai had only heard their legends, but had never seen their actual appearance. However, judging from the experiences recounted by Sun Wukong, Old Kaio can be considered a supreme god who cares for all living beings and is highly respected. If you think it's believable, then it's fine. Sun Wukong felt relieved. He had received a lot of help from the old Kai in his previous life, and he trusted him completely. Wukong, don't think I'm being long-winded. No matter how weak the enemy is, we must go all out and not let our guard down. King Kai gave another earnest instruction. Haha. All right, King Kai. Beerus, Gregory, goodbye. Sun Wukong placed his right index and middle fingers side by side on his forehead and began to concentrate intently, carefully searching for Piccolo's key, currently the most powerful being on Earth. Instant teleportation is an essential skill for traveling. Sun Wukong had used this technique for many years, and he deeply understood its importance, whether in fighting enemies or searching for people. Its basic principle. Once the target's energy is located, the user connects with it, transforms themselves into an energy form, and forcibly opens a miniature spatial channel using an instantaneous skill, reducing infinite distance to a mere instant, directly reaching the designated target's location. In the human world, this is nothing short of a miracle. However, compared to the instantaneous divine technique of Kibito, a servant of the Supreme Kai, its shortcomings are obvious, and Planet Yardrat has serious weaknesses. Jobit's teleportation doesn't require a location marker. As long as he knows the location, he can reach his target without any obstacles. In his previous life, Sun Wukong greatly admired this skill, so he studied with Jet for a period of time, hoping to upgrade his instant transmission. However, his spiritual level was insufficient, and Jet's explanation was so vague and confusing that he couldn't understand it at all, so he had no choice but to give up. When Goku's ki was transmitted to Earth, he found that Piccolo's ki was like a firefly in the dark, which he could sense at a glance. Like a dazzling lighthouse, it guided him in the darkness of the universe. Wow, found it! A moment later, Sun Wukong, with a joyful expression, waved goodbye to King Kai and the other two. His figure flashed by and disappeared without a trace. Chapter 9. Earth at the edge of the Milky Way. The towering mountains and ridges in the wild. Ha! Ha! Bang! Two figures, one large and one small, clashed at lightning speed, leaving after images in their wake, engaging in a fierce battle. Their fists clashed, unleashing their raw, untamed power. The older one wore a white magic robe, while the younger one wore an orange martial arts robe with the character for magic on it. Each strike cracked the earth and shattered the clouds. Boom! Piccolo struck unexpectedly with a powerful punch. Gohan's chest jolted, his blood surged, and he was instantly sent flying backward, smashing into a mountain peak tens of meters high 100 miles away, creating a deep crater. Uncle Piccolo, again! Son Gohan flew out of the crater, wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and smeared it on his tattered martial arts uniform, his fighting spirit soaring. His young body was brimming with immense energy. A year of battles and training had unleashed a portion of the power dormant within Son Gohan. The injury that Big sustained was negligible to him. Boom! The protective aura reignited, and the two intertwined once more, causing deafening booms to erupt in the void. On the top of a mountain that is 100 meters high, a lithe figure appeared. It was none other than Son Goku, returning to Earth from the netherworld's King Kai planet. He watched with great interest Piccolo Dama's training of his son Gohan. Gohan's small stature, his earnest expression of training, and his persistent desire for Piccolo's recognition made Goku feel a sense of disorientation, as if his image merged with that of the refined young man who, many years later, was well-read and dedicated to scientific research. Gohan is still so young. Sun Wukong sighed. Back in the Cell era, a child as young as 10 years old shouldered the responsibility of destroying Cell and saving the Earth. His gaze was resolute. In this life, Dad will be your pillar of support, allowing you to live the life you want. Whether you wish to cultivate yourself or study, Dad will support your choices. When the two were exhausted and finished their training, Sun Wukong appeared before them at just the right time. Gohan, Piccolo. Dad! Son Gohan shouted with surprise, truly not expecting his long-awaited father to suddenly appear. Regardless of anything else, the 5-year-old boy threw himself into Sun Wukong's arms, his eyes brimming with tears, filled with tender affection. Dad, are you here to take me home? Son Gohan asked crisply. Certainly. Sun Wukong nodded in agreement, patted Son Gohan's hair, and immediately made Son Gohan beam with joy. Although Uncle Bick is a very nice person, he misses his parents terribly after not seeing them for a year. The sudden arrival of Goku caught Piccolo off guard, and a fleeting look of surprise crossed Piccolo's eyes, but he quickly regained his composure. His outward expressions don't fit his great Demon King persona. From a very early age, Piccolo, moved by Goku's strength and excellent character, and also fond of his son and student Gohan, gradually diminished his desire to kill Goku, and now it is almost gone. His subconscious no longer regarded Sun Wukong as a mortal enemy, but as a passerby friend with whom he could cultivate and progress together. Piccolo, with his blue face and pointed ears, feigned composure, glancing sideways with a cool expression, and said, "When the Earth's sky turned black before, I had a suspicion that your friends were summoning Shenron to resurrect you. But Shenron only disappeared for a little over 10 minutes, how did you get back to Earth? Shenron can only grant one wish, it's impossible for him to transfer you to Earth." Piccolo stared at Goku with a suspicious look on his face. "I've mastered a technique called instant transmission, which allows me to freely travel between the human and underworld realms. After Shenron resurrected me, I located Piccolo's key and came directly here." Sun Wukong explained the whole story. Big's face turned pale instantly. Damn it, there was something he didn't know whether he should say or not. Am I, Piccolo Dama, destined to live my entire life in Goku's shadow? Wow, Dad, you're amazing. Son Gohan, on the other hand, didn't have so many thoughts. His dark eyes shone with admiration, and he thought that his father was indeed the most powerful person in the world. Even someone as capable as Uncle Piccolo can't compare to Dad. Snort. Piccolo snorted and turned his head away arrogantly, but he tacitly agreed with Gohan's statement. Have the Saiyans arrived ahead of schedule? Big asked with a serious expression and a hint of apprehension. A year ago, Raditz, Sun Wukong's brother, made this self-proclaimed Earth Demon King lose face. Faced with Raditz's coercion and provocation, he was completely helpless and only managed to defeat the enemy by joining forces with Goku. Looking back on the process now, a feeling of frustration and resentment lingers in my heart. According to Raditz, the Saiyan from space who attacked Earth this time was more powerful than him. The Saiyans from the universe should arrive by noon tomorrow. Sun Wukong answered in a relaxed tone. He disregarded Vegeta and Nappa's threats, stemming from absolute confidence in his strength, he would stop them from destroying the city and then defeat them. Goku doesn't intend to kill them, Vegeta will reform and go to the front lines to fight evil for his family. Seeing this, Bik was slightly taken aback. What kind of training did Sun Wukong undergo in the underworld? He doesn't even take the Saiyans seriously anymore, his power level has probably increased beyond my expectations. A year ago, the gap between us wasn't that large. The gods sending him to the underworld to cultivate makes perfect sense. Bik fell silent, thinking of the gods. Gurgle. A rumbling sound came from Gohan's stomach. Ah! I'm so hungry. Son Gohan rubbed his stomach, looking troubled. Dad, let's go home for dinner. Son Gohan's small eyes blinked. Good. Sun Wukong smiled indulgently, he had originally planned to take Gohan back to see Chi-Chi anyway. Gohan, beaming with joy, said to Piccolo in his sweet, childlike voice, Uncle Piccolo, let's go home together. Mom's cooking is delicious, you'll definitely remember it fondly. Having spent a year together, eating and living together, Piccolo Dama is like family to Gohan. As for how terrifying and brutal Piccolo is in the eyes of other Earthlings, he doesn't yet have that concept. Piccolo, with his high emotional intelligence, wouldn't disturb Goku and the others' family gathering. While Piccolo and Piccolo themselves might not care, Goku's wife, Gohan's mother, would definitely mind. The three agreed to fight the evil Saiyans together the next day, and then Piccolo casually made an excuse to leave. Saying goodbye to Bik. Sun Wukong, holding Son Gohan's little hand, used instant transmission to return to the beautiful and serene Baizai Mountain. Chapter 10. Baizai Mountain. Surrounded by mountains and ancient trees, it is lush and green. Several domed houses are nestled at the top of the mountain, like stars scattered across the sky. Suddenly, the figures of Goku and Gohan, one big and one small, appeared in front of Chi-Chi. When Kikai saw the two of them, she froze instantly, like a solidified sculpture. His eyes blazed with a sparkling light, his pupils trembled violently as he repeatedly confirmed that familiar face. Goku, Gohan. Kikai's voice trembled, her lips moved several times, each word filled with intense emotion. You're finally home. Mom, I miss you so much. Gohan rushed forward, his small body tightly hugging Chi-Chi's pant leg, and burst into tears. As a young child, he was separated from his parents and lived a very difficult life practicing asceticism alone in the wild. At first, whenever he encountered difficulties, such as being chased by dinosaurs, his mother in his dreams would kindly comfort him, which helped him persevere. Good child, you're finally home. Kikai's eyes were hazy as she placed her fingertips on the child's head, then patted the child's back comfortingly. Kikai. I'm back. Sun Wukong stood quietly to the side, overwhelmed with mixed feelings, and a sense of guilt welled up within him. He had so much to say, but he didn't know where to begin. Before me stood the young, vibrant Kikai from my memories. This made him truly feel the reality of being reborn. It's good to be back. Kikai choked up, her tone gentler than ever before. Who understands? A year ago, my husband took our child out to visit friends as usual, when suddenly we received devastating news. She was separated from her husband by death, and even her child was taken away by the terrifying Piccolo. It's euphemistically called spiritual practice. But the child is only 4 years old. What kind of training can he possibly achieve? To fight against the brutal Saiyans in the universe? Ku. Mom, I'm so hungry. Gohan said in a spoiled tone. The first thing you do when you get back is look for food. Chi-Chi flicked Gohan's forehead and said irritably. Then, looking at Sun Wukong, his eyes gleaming, he said, Wukong, we're running low on food at home. Go and catch some wild game. The return of the father and son awakened the vitality within her. Sun Wukong escorted the two into the house, then flew to the vicinity of the mountains, where he cut up a dinosaur, an elephant, a large fish, and other supplies to take home. The wild animals near Bayazai Mountain were horrified to discover that the great demon king who once ruled Bayazai Mountain had returned. Under the cover of night, in the quiet mountains, the three laughed and chatted happily. After Gohan fell asleep, Goku and Chi-Chi, separated for so long, enjoyed a warm and happy evening together. The first rays of dawn appeared. Golden sunlight pierced through the clouds, gently brushing across the mountains, dispelling the pervasive mist, and bringing life and vitality to the earth. Looking refreshed and full of energy, Sun Wukong was instructing Son Gohan on his training. "Gohan, your breathing is erratic. Calm down." Sun Wukong spoke up, pointing out the shortcomings in Son Gohan's training. "Goku, are you really going to take the child to fight those evil scions from the universe?" Kiki, observing the father and son's cultivation, wore a worried expression. She didn't want to lose her husband and child again. Just thinking about it is enough to drive her crazy. Goku didn't answer, but smiled as he watched Gohan demonstrate a Piccolo fist technique. "Gohan, are you going?" Son Gohan hesitated for a moment, then quickly made up his mind, his eyes resolute. "I promised Uncle Piccolo, I'll go." Goku then answered Chi-Chi, "This is Gohan's decision, and I support his decision." He paused, then slowly said, "It's good for Gohan to broaden his horizons. The universe is vast, and there are countless unknown enemies. The scions are just an appetizer. If anything happens to me again, Gohan can step in." He recalled Gohan from future Trunks' timeline, who, lacking training experience and not knowing how to unleash the energy hidden on the surface, lost an arm during a battle with the androids and was subsequently killed. A tragic world. "Why?" Kikai wanted to say something, but she shook her head and said nothing. She thought to herself, wondering what kind of spell Piccolo had cast on Gohan. Since returning home yesterday, whenever the topic of wilderness retreats comes up, he's been beaming with pride, calling me Uncle Bick. In Gohan's description, the former Piccolo Dama was like a nanny who cared for her child. Kikai got goosebumps just thinking about that scene. Sun Wukong, on the other hand, was used to it. Piccolo's past life was like that, just like Gohan's other parents. East Capital. Goku and Gohan arrived early at the spot where Vegeta and Gohan had landed and were waiting there. He was surprised to see Piccolo, Krillin, Tien Shinyan, Tietsu, and Yamcha. "You've arrived." Sun Wukong greeted him warmly. Piccolo nodded coolly with his green face, as if in response to Goku. "Wherever there is battle, there I, Piccolo the Great Demon King, will be." "Uncle Piccolo, you're finally here." Son Gohan grinned broadly and darted out from beside Son Goku. Piccolo, who had spent a year with his adorable disciple, smiled, raising his hand to place it on Gohan's hair. He gently rubbed his head, his voice gentle. "We made an appointment yesterday, of course I had to come. At least I wasn't late." "Wukong, you're back." Krillin spotted Goku immediately, his excitement evident. "Yes, I'm back." Sun Wukong was also happy. "Why did you all arrive early?" Sun Wukong was puzzled. Krillin said, "It was a deity who informed us. He said that based on the Saiyan spaceship's trajectory, there's a high probability the Scions will land in Dongdu at noon." "Oh, I see." Sun Wukong nodded. Then he pulled Gohan over and introduced him. "Krillin, this is my son, Gohan." "Gohan. This is your uncle Krillin. Your dad's best friend. I remember you. You must be Krillin from Master Roshi's house." Son Gohan leaned closer, looking curiously at bald Krillin. "Haha. Gohan, you're much stronger than when you were a kid, and you look just like Goku when he was young." Krillin's eyes lit up, and his expression became friendly, as if he were seeing the happy memories of his childhood with Goku again. "I often hear Dad talk about you. You're small, but very strong." Sun Gohan, with his tiger-like face, said. Wukong, why did you say that about me? It's so mean. Krillin, his face dark, questioned Goku, who was standing to the side. Haha. Krillin, this, haha. Sun Wukong looked embarrassed, his eyes darting around. Humph, UBD. Klin looked at the father and son with amusement. Wukong. Upon seeing the composed Sun Wukong, Yamcha stepped out from the crowd. She opened her arms and hugged him tightly. Starting yesterday, a powerful aura appeared on Earth, and I knew it was you. After many years apart, it's easy to imagine how Yamcha, as a friend, feels upon seeing her old friend again. Haha, Wukong. With you here, I can finally relax. You have no idea, I had a nightmare last night. Yamcha made a little joke. Since learning of the Saiyan invasion, there was a string in his heart that was taut and tightly wound. With the return of the boy who once saved the world, Yamcha couldn't help but relax. In Yamcha's mind, with Wukong around, the sky won't fall down. Yes. Yamcha, your martial arts have improved greatly while you were training with the gods. Upon seeing familiar faces again, Sun Wukong was filled with emotion. Time flies, 5 or 6 years have passed in the blink of an eye. Yamcha sighed, I can still vividly recall their glory days, even Gohan has grown up now. Haha. Sun Wukong patted Yamcha, after today, let's get together. Okay. Yamcha smiled. Tianjin rice and dumplings also came forward to greet us. Noon, 11:43 am. A spacecraft trailing 2 long white flames pierced through the darkness of space and arrived at the blue Earth. The eastern capital was bustling with activity, bathed in perfect sunlight. 2 streaks of light, perceived by all parties, entered the thick atmosphere. On the wide road, 2 deep craters, several meters deep, were smashed open, startling the onlookers who scattered in all directions. Inside the mine. Click. The door of the circular spaceship was opened. 2 figures, one tall and one short, leaped out, their cold eyes sweeping contemptuously over the whispering earthlings around them. This is what Earth looks like, pretty good. Vegeta, in his blue standard battle suit, scoffed dismissively. Clearly, he completely looked down on Earthlings with their low combat capabilities. Then let's give these country bumpkins a piece of our minds. The bald man licked his lips with his tongue, his smile cruel, intending to give the barbaric Earthlings an unforgettable greeting. Control point. Vegeta glanced at Nappa and said calmly. Killing some Earthlings is no big deal. But if this damages the planet and prevents it from fetching a good price, then it would be a net loss. It also tarnishes the reputation of the Saiyans. Once they find the guy who killed Raditz, they'll obtain their so-called Dragon Balls and gain the power to live forever. Then they gradually eliminated the troublesome Earthlings and resold them to other aliens. The Saiyans have a well-established reputation for selling planets and earning commissions. Nappa raised his right index and middle fingers high, gathering a powerful energy at the fingertips capable of instantly destroying a city with millions of inhabitants. However, his energy wave did not erupt, and the city was thus spared from destruction. Suddenly, a hand reached out, its fingers sharply defined, and gripped Nappa's hand tightly. The 5 fingers were like iron hoops, locking him firmly in place, rendering him unable to move. What are you up to? A cold voice reached his ears. Chapter 11. Sun Wukong stood calmly in front of Nappa. A cold light shone from his dark pupils. He had just realized that Vegeta and the other person had arrived on Earth. They successfully thwarted Nappa's attempt to destroy the Earth. This reduces the chance of the dragon making a wish by 1, and thus reduces the amount of negative energy needed by the evil dragon. Nappa's rugged face flushed red with shock and anger. Who are you? How dare you stop me, Grandpa Nappa? Some guy suddenly appeared out of nowhere and dared to lay a handkerchief on him. Since Sun Wukong has made his move, Gohan, Piccolo, Krillin, and the others flew out naturally, confronting Vegeta and the other two from a distance. They even have backup. Nappa said in a cold voice. Sun Wukong did not answer, but released his grip and then delivered a swift back fist that struck Nappa's chin hard. Bang! The fist collided violently with flesh, and Nappa felt excruciating pain in his jaw, as if his bones were shattering. Ah! A scream! It was a heartbreaking story that brought tears to the eyes of all who heard it. Nappa's strong body was sent flying into the dense clouds by the force of Sun Wukong's punch, tearing open a large hole in the shape of a human. High in the sky, Nappa stopped in his tracks, furious. He had barely arrived on Earth and hadn't even had a chance to establish his authority when he was met with a fierce attack from the Earthlings, whom he considered lowly. This made him absolutely furious. I want you dead! Nappa roared, his aura surging, his energy continuously increasing. Did he? The combat testing device worn by Nappa on his right eye showed that the person in front of him had a combat power of only 1086. He sneered, the words tumbling out without a second thought, a piece of trash with 1,000 combat strength, you ambushed me. You'll pay for your actions. Sun Wukong tilted his head, staring curiously at the tall man. You are no match for him. Vegeta said coldly. Vegeta, what did you say? Nappa was utterly shocked, staring at Sun Wukong with disbelief. He's stronger than me? My combat strength is 4,000, while his is only a little over 1,000. Vegeta ignored Nappa's embarrassing performance and instead stared at the nonchalant Goku and his crab-like head, a trait typical of lower-class Saiyans. When Vegeta spoke to Goku, he said with praise and admiration, you must be Raditz' younger brother, Kakarot. For a low-level warrior to improve his combat power from over 400 to a level comparable to that of a high-level warrior like Nappa in just 1 year is practically unheard of in the history of low-level Saiyan warriors. He pointed to the combat testing device on his right eye. I know, the data calculated here is incorrect. You have the ability to manipulate combat power at will. He glanced at Gohan and the others not far away. That's your son, right? A Saiyan Earthling hybrid. His power level is close to 1,000, his potential is immense. He knew this kid, Raditz died on Earth, and that mixed-race kid played a significant role in it. When young Gohan saw Vegeta staring at him with hostility, he immediately tensed up. Sun Wukong nodded. Why don't you kill those Earthlings, bring your son, and join us to conquer the universe, and enjoy the thrill of battle together? Vegeta invited him. With Kakarot's fighting prowess, he is fully qualified to stand beside him and conquer the universe. Moreover, the Saiyans were nearly wiped out, with only a handful of survivors remaining. What? Wukong would never do that. Klin was furious. Vegeta ignored him completely, staring at Goku and waiting for his response. Sun Wukong was speechless. The Vegeta in front of him was just as bad as he remembered when he first arrived on Earth. His mind was filled with killing, conquest, and battle. They don't even consider why they're fighting. Vegeta will only become a good person after he marries Bulma and has children. Right now, he's a ruthless planet trafficker. Sun Wukong thought to himself, in the war on Earth, I need to beat those two half to death to teach them a lesson they won't forget. Only then will they repent and become good people. He was plotting how to beat the two men to near death at just the right moment. Earth is beautiful, and I won't destroy it. Humans on Earth are innocent too, they are the true owners of this place. He shook his head and refused. Ha ha! Vegeta laughed uncontrollably, as if he had heard an extremely naive joke. He looked at Sun Wukong as if he were a fool. Did you break your brain? The Saiyan's survival logic. The strong survive, the weak perish. This is also an unchanging law of the universe. Otherwise, how could Frieza's army have dominated the universe for decades? Wherever they went, mountains of corpses and seas of blood were left behind, and countless rebellious planets were destroyed. He still sits firmly on his throne, his military might unstoppable, and he is known as the Emperor of the Universe. It's just business. Once we get the Dragon Balls and make our wishes, we'll wipe out the Earth's natives, including you, Kakarot. Vegeta's words were indifferent, he didn't see anything wrong with it. That's what Saiyans have always done. Vegeta's lips slowly curled into a disdainful smile, his eyes chillingly cold. Even if you have Nappa's fighting power, to me you're nothing more than a slightly larger ant. Are you sure you want to stop the two of us? Certainly. Sun Wukong spoke with a firm tone. He gave Vegeta a strange look, then said sincerely, Vegeta, killing you would be easy for me, but I don't want to. I hope you can become good people from now on. Haha, Vegeta, did you hear that? Kakarot said he could kill both of us with a flick of his wrist, and told us to be good people. That joke is hilarious. The words reached Nappa's ears, and she burst into laughter, loudly mocking him. Kakarot, where do you get the confidence to kill me? You're the first person to dare humiliate me like this. My fighting power is beyond your imagination. Vegeta narrowed his eyes, his expression cold, a flash of murderous intent passing through him. His mind raced, convinced that Kakarot was bluffing. However, he wondered where Kakarot got the confidence to challenge him, a Saiyan prince. Unless Kakarot is an idiot who can't see reality. Kakarot knocked Nappa away, and the detector showed that his combat power surged, with a maximum value of no more than 5,000. Vegeta, I don't believe he's stronger than me. I was careless just now. That's why he had the chance to launch a sneak attack. I will fight him again. Seeing the two men on the verge of exchanging blows, Nappa immediately spoke up. He was terrified that if Goku were killed by Vegeta, he would never have another chance to avenge himself. He would spend the rest of his life enduring the humiliation of being insulted by his junior soldiers. Nappa clenched his muscles, a bloodthirsty killing intent permeating the air, his aura constantly gathering. Boasting can get you killed, Kakarot. I'll get rid of you today, you Saiyan trash. Before he finished speaking, he had already thrown a punch at Sun Wukong. He absolutely refused to believe that a low-level soldier could surpass him, an elite high-level soldier. A flurry of punches and kicks ensued. Sun Wukong remained calm and easily dodged Nappa's attack. It's as if to say, that's it. That's it. Slap in the face. Nappa's pupils suddenly contracted, his face flushed red, and steam rose from his head, he looked more grotesque than ever before. Even though I only used half my strength, Kakarot was able to easily dodge my attacks. This is completely unlike the fighting ability expected of a junior soldier. An invisible gust of wind struck, and Nappa's muscles contracted, his hair standing on end, his body sending him a dangerous signal. Before he could react, Sun Wukong's fist was already clenched and ready to strike. Bang! In an instant, with immense force and the sound of wind and thunder, it struck Nappa's chest heavily. Several leg strikes, with overwhelming force, swept away everything in their path, leaving Nappa like a small boat adrift on the current. It shot straight out of the densely populated urban area like a shooting star. Let's change the battlefield. Goku glanced at Vegeta, then called to Gohan, Krillin, and the other warriors, before turning and flying out of the city. Vegeta chuckled coldly, then followed them away. A desperate struggle cannot change the inevitable outcome of defeat. Chapter 12. The tall figure, like a kite with a broken string, headed towards a place rarely visited by people. In the blink of an eye, they were thousands of miles away. I'm so angry my lungs are about to explode. For a high-ranking elite warrior like him to be humiliated by a low-ranking warrior like Kakarot was an utter disgrace. It's important to understand that this wasn't a sneak attack, but a fair, head-on, and uncompromising battle. But he couldn't even touch the hem of Sun Wukong's clothes. This filled him not only with immense shame, but also with a raging fire of fury. He decided to stop holding back and use all his strength to destroy Sun Wukong, including the earth, which Kakarot cherishes. Even when Vegeta gets angry, he still needs to vent his anger. 15 minutes later, Sun Wukong discovered a suitable place for battle. He and Son Gohan descended extremely quickly. Vegeta also descended slowly. Good. 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 Kakarot, you did a great job. Nappa sneered, Kakarot, I was just careless just now. Only then did he understand what it meant to laugh when anger reaches its limit. Dad. Startled, Son Gohan grabbed Son Goku's clothes and hid behind him in fear. This place is far from humanity, let's fight here. Sun Wukong glanced around and then said, Kakarot, I will unleash all my power to destroy you. Nappa clenched her fists, trembling with anger. I told you, you're no match for me. I was just careless. Nappa reiterated this point. His temples throbbed, and his large eyes were wide open. Kakarot, you thought that was my full power? Don't underestimate me. That was only half my power. He grinned maliciously, don't think that just because you've achieved some success in your training on a remote planet, you can look down on higher-ranking warriors. Sun Wukong was puzzled as to why Nappa was so violent. Looking dejected, he scratched his head, his expression earnest and sincere. I'm not looking down on you, but I'm just stating the facts. To deal with Nappa, who had a fighting force of several thousand, he could indeed destroy with a wave of his hand and injure with a flick of his finger. What did you say? Nappa was so angry she couldn't speak. Sun Wukong didn't understand a single word. Lies don't hurt, the truth is the sharpest knife. Nappa, a high-ranking elite warrior, had his sore spot touched by him without his knowledge. These earthlings are probably the strongest. Let's take them out now to avoid future trouble. Vegeta chuckled softly. They planned to achieve victory in one fell swoop, completely disregarding the Earth Warriors. Sun Wukong, who is this guy? Big frowned and asked. Vegeta's ki gave him a tremendous sense of pressure compared to the large saiyan. His name is Vegeta. Sun Wukong paused for a moment, then said, a genius warrior among the saiyans. Big was startled and glanced at him a few more times. I really didn't expect that the short saiyan would have such a background. Vegeta snorted. Kakarot, you're just a low-ranking exiled warrior, yet you know quite a lot. That voice, is that the voice you used to kill Raditz? Vegeta smirked. Big was puzzled. A sound. Vegeta raised his right hand, pointing his index finger to the sensor in his right eye. Didn't Raditz say this could be used as a communicator? Big remained silent. He remembered. In his moment of triumph, he revealed the secret of the Dragon Balls. Humph, let me see your fighting prowess. Nappa pressed the button on the battle detector to scan the fighting power of Goku, Piccolo, and Gohan. 1220, 1086, 981. Idiot, with this level of strength, you still want to oppose us? He naturally knew that Kakarot's combat power was not just 1086. However, he still spoke dismissively. Kakarot, your fighting power is truly worthy of a low-level scion banished to a desolate planet for pioneering. Nappa laughed loudly, launching into a tirade of sarcasm. A lowly soldier is just a lowly soldier. Piccolo glanced at Goku. Seeing his calm expression, unmoved by the giant scion's words, as if they were the barking of a weak ant, not worth his attention. Sun Wukong's fighting power is definitely far greater than 1086, he must be hiding his true strength. After much deliberation, Big realized this and his mind settled instantly. Vegeta frowned. Nappa really has no brains. Vegeta gave a slight, cold laugh, removing his combat scouter. That's not how it is, Nappa. Nappa was taken aback. They can adjust combat effectiveness during battle, the data is no longer accurate. Vegeta casually tossed the battle detector aside. Nappa vaguely recalled his previous battle with Kakarot. Vegeta seems to have mentioned this, but he was too angry at the time to pay attention. He lost it too. Humph. That's right, that useless Raditz trusted this too much, and ended up losing his life. I won't do that. Chapter 13. Vegeta, this green-skinned guy looks like a name Kian. No wonder he looks familiar. Nappa suddenly spoke, a hint of apprehension flashing in his eyes. First there was the eccentric lower-class warrior Kakarot, and now there's a name Kian. Vegeta dismissed it, maybe. Otherwise, how could Raditz have been defeated by them? Name Kians. Bick was bewildered, it was the first time he had heard this information. Piccolo, so you're from outer space? No wonder. Krillin looked at Piccolo with surprise, a look of understanding flashing in his eyes. Is that so? Uncle Piccolo is an alien. Son Gohan was slightly surprised. Goku, aren't you surprised? Piccolo is a genuine alien. Krillin noticed that Goku's expression remained calm throughout, and a hint of suspicion flashed in his eyes. Oh? Haha, is that so? Sun Wukong seemed completely unresponsive. Klin. Even Gohan was surprised, shouldn't you be surprised too? Rumor has it that Namekians not only possess extraordinary fighting abilities, but also seem to have some incredible powers, such as magic and the ability to create wish-granting beads. Vegeta slowly and methodically explains some basic cosmological knowledge. Then, glancing at Piccolo, he said with certainty, "You created the Dragon Balls, didn't you? You guys actually know about Dragon Ball?" Klin exclaimed. They came for the Dragon Balls. Sun Wukong explained. Don't make a fuss. Their combat probes have communication capabilities. Piccolo scoffed, then said, it was leaked during the battle with Raditz. Good to know. If you know what's good for you, hand over the Dragon Balls. While Goku's fighting power has exceeded our expectations, and even with you, a Namekian, added to the mix, you're no match for us. Nappa threatened with a sinister grin, you'll die if you don't hand it over. Snort. Bick sneered, I should thank you for letting me know who my ancestors were. He then added with a disdainful expression, but I'm sorry, I'm only interested in fighting. Creating Dragon Balls has nothing to do with me. He then assumed a fighting stance, saying, as for whether we're a match for each other, only a fight will tell. Gohan, you must have suffered a lot training with Piccolo, right? Krillin covered his mouth with one hand and asked Gohan in a low voice. Son Gohan chuckled sheepishly, yeah. But Uncle Piccolo's been really nice to me. Goku suddenly looked at Vegeta. Vegeta, you came to Earth for immortality, so there's no point in fulfilling that wish. Having been reborn, Goku naturally knew why Vegeta had come to Earth. He plans to find the Dragon Balls to fulfill his wish of immortality. Ultimately, it's all just a dream, an illusion, a reflection in a mirror. Immortality without power is nothing but self-torture. Vegeta was taken aback. What do you mean? He scoffed, you're from Earth, yet you seem to know quite a lot. Enjoy the thrill of battle forever, and explore the limits of power in the pursuit of immortality. You have a good wish, but it means nothing to you right now. Sun Wukong nodded and then shook his head. Vegeta was stunned, his gaze fixed on Goku, not missing a single micro-expression. Why? Sun Wukong sighed softly, the wishes granted by the Dragon Balls always come with a price. When you obtain a wish you shouldn't have, there will inevitably be an unbearable cost behind it. Vegeta remained silent, but you could tell from his eyes that he didn't believe Goku's explanation. Sun Wukong abruptly changed the subject, so what if you have immortality? The universe contains all sorts of sealing techniques. With your current fighting strength, do you think you can escape them? On Earth, there was a great demon king who wreaked havoc and caused endless destruction. Martial artists could never kill him. Finally, he was sealed away for hundreds of years by a single demon sealing wave, using a rice cooker as a makeshift barrier. Isn't that tragic for the great demon king? Vegeta's expression changed slightly, but he remained silent. This was indeed a crucial point. The Dragon Balls grant wishes once a year. Yesterday, my wish was granted, reviving me. The next wish won't come for another year. Now that the Dragon Balls have turned to stone, even if you find them, it's useless. Sun Wukong then revealed another piece of information about the Dragon Balls. Nonsense, I don't believe it. Nappa shouted angrily, Kakarot, I didn't expect you to be such a smooth talker, not telling the truth. It seems I'll have to defeat you all to find out the answer. Vegeta smirked. Whether it's true or not, we'll find out after we defeat them, capture them one by one, and interrogate them for information about the Dragon Balls. I refuse to believe we can't get the truth. He suddenly pointed his right thumb, making a gesture that would astound even Sun Wukong, declaring, on this earth, no one is my match. That's how confident and invincible he is. Sun Wukong silently watched Vegeta's confident gesture. He thought to himself, in my past life, if you used gestures, you would inevitably be beaten up. Snort. If you want war, then let's fight. Bick was getting impatient. Let me go first. You're no match for them yet. Sun Wukong stepped forward and stopped Piccolo. He had planned this all along. In this life, I will teach them a lesson, just like in the previous one. Piccolo is indeed no match for Nappa and Vegeta. Bick. Those words really hurt. I composed myself, stepped aside, and stood with my arms crossed, ready for the battle. Chapter 14. The wind whistled, and a somber atmosphere filled the air. The two sides faced off, exuding a menacing aura. Bang! Bang! Fists and palms clashed, muscles bulged, and joints cracked like popping beans. Sun Wukong's legs left several afterimages, and the air produced a sonic boom. Vegeta, Nappa, which of you two goes first? After some pre-match exercises, he looked at Vegeta and the other person. Kakarot, you're certainly courting death, but I'm happy to grant your wish. Nappa smiled cruelly, staring at Klin and the others. I'll kill Kakarot first, then you six small fry. Haha. If you're scared, run far away now, and you'll have a chance of survival. Our Earth may not be as powerful as yours, but we will never back down in the face of a formidable foe. Klin was very unhappy. When the bald man, Nappa, belittled their courage, they immediately fired a sharp retort. As martial arts warriors, they naturally wouldn't be intimidated before the battle even begins. Sun Wukong also answered. Really? Interesting. Vegeta, in high spirits, muttered to himself, since they're so brave, Kakarot, how about we play a game? Game? Sun Wukong was curious, truly wondering what was going on in his mind. Yes. A fun game. Vegeta chuckled, saying with amusement, Nappa, we still have 6 saiyan seeds left. Let's plant them. Ha ha ha. Nappa grinned. Vegeta, you're really intrigued. What kind of cultivator? Klin's eyes widened. What is it? Son Gohan was puzzled. Nappa ignored him and reached into the pocket at his waist behind his back, pulling out a small, clear bottle. He placed it in front of him, counted it carefully, squatted down, and poked the soil with his finger, making 6 mud holes. Pour in the vegetable seeds and sprinkle with some nutrient solution. In less than a minute. Glug! 6 short-limbed, large-headed, red-eyed, green-bodied cultivators burst forth from the soil like bamboo shoots after a spring rain, emitting chilling, sinister laughs. Ah! What the hell is that, growing out of the ground? Klin was shocked. What an ugly thing! It's disgusting. This is what a cultivator is like. Sun Wukong examined it closely. It was the first time he had ever seen this thing. I had heard Klin and the others describe it in my past life, and now I've finally met the real person. Honestly, it's pretty ugly. Vegeta gestured to the Saibaman, give them a good lesson. Let's have some entertainment before the battle. Vegeta remained calm and composed, appearing to be in complete control and ready to watch the show. Vegeta, your hobby is quite unique. Did Vegeta in his previous life have this hobby? Sun Wukong fell into deep thought. Vegeta as I remember him. I enjoy bathing with Bulma, shopping with my daughter, and training in the gravity chamber. Vegeta. What does this have to do with you? Besides, your familiar tone makes me wonder if we're that close. What do you, a low-ranking soldier, know about the joys of combat? Kakarot, you don't need to make a move yet. There are 6 of them, and I happen to have 6 cultivators on my side. How about we let them fight one-on-one? That should be quite a show. Watching a show. It's utterly boring. Big clenched his fist in fury upon hearing this. Were they being made fools of? When has Piccolo ever suffered such humiliation? No need for all that talk, I can handle them all by myself. After gritting his teeth and finishing his sentence, Piccolo was about to attack and kill the cyborg. Don't get angry. Klin tried to dissuade him, saying that the 6 green-headed men were evil and clearly not good people. I'll go first. Emerging from the Tianjin restaurant, he bumped his fists together 3 times, eager to try his luck. Good. Sun Wukong agreed and stepped back. Nappa gave a cold laugh. Humph. A clueless fool. Vegeta pointed to a Saibaman on the periphery, his words leaving no room for argument. You'll lead the charge. Give it your all. The cultivators dared not disobey Vegeta's will. Its scarlet eyes flashed with a cold light, exuding utter evil. Go Tianjin Rice! The dumpling waved its fist and shouted encouragement. Sun Wukong kept a close eye on the details of the battle. In the previous timeline, Tian Xinyan died from exhaustion, and Tietze died from self-destruction. In this life, he naturally wouldn't allow the tragedy to happen again. Moreover, he was resurrected by a dragon after death. It's best to use those Dragon Balls sparingly. Regardless of his reasons, he would do everything in his power to stop it. Tianjin Rice nodded slightly. Like an abyss or the sea, it gathers the mind and energy. The heat of the Tianjin dish was steadily rising, soon reaching its limit. Ah! The cultivator's face was ferocious, his eyes were cruel, and with a leap of his legs, he shot towards Tian Xinyan like an arrow released from a bow. Ha! Tianjin Fan's right hand shot out like lightning. With 2 fingers held straight, it resembles an invincible sword. An invisible energy was released like a surging wave, overwhelming the cultivator. The cultivator was struck as if by lightning, suffering immediate injury, his limbs twisted like pretzel, and his bones emitted a heart-stopping cracking and tearing sound. Tian Xinyan pressed his advantage, launching a fierce attack like a storm, charging forward to deliver a fatal blow to Saibaman. The cultivator suddenly gave a sinister smile, and his head split open like a watermelon. Tianjin Rice was utterly shocked. A wave of energy, like a venomous snake emerging from its hole, unexpectedly shot out from the cultivator's head, pouncing on Tian Xinyan, who was right next to him, like a hungry wolf pouncing on its prey. Whoosh! My mind is racing with thoughts of Tianjin cuisine. The emergency response instincts honed over the years played a crucial role at this critical moment. He instinctively leaped away like a cunning rabbit, instantly dodging the trajectory of the Qigong cannon. Sizzle! The white vapor emitted by the cultivator swept across the land. The terrifying aftershocks, like a raging storm, plowed a long, 10-foot deep, wide path through the land. A tunnel leads straight down to the distant mountains. Klin broke out in a cold sweat. That's dangerous.